Hi, and welcome to Mondays with Marlo. I'm so excited about today. Well, first of all, the fabulous Rocco Dispirito is back, which is just all kinds of good news. But what he's going to do today is so exciting, and I really want to learn how to do this. He's taking old recipes that are fattening and not good for us, like potato chips and fried chicken, and showing us a healthy new way of making them. So this is going to be such a great day for us to have delicious stuff that's also healthy. You're such a magical person.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
My being here today is a salute to your courage, by the way, because usually when I cook in someone's kitchen, I never get invited back. So you are a brave, brave woman to let me come back and do my thing here.
Oh, no. Are you kidding? Everybody couldn't wait for you to come back. We learned so many great things last time.
It was so much fun. I actually learned as I was talking about it. I was like, oh, wow, this is a new insight because you're really good at getting information out of me.
Yeah. So now let's talk about how did we used to make potato chips?
So think about it as new rules for potato chips. We used to deep fry potato chips like this. Mm-hmm. So they sit in this oil.
Right.
And they sit and sit and sit. And, 10 to 12 minutes later, you've got potatoes soaked with fat, and they taste great, and they're crispy, and they're wonderful.
And then you salt them.
Yeah, then you put salt on them, and then they sit around.
And then you get a heart attack.
Yeah, exactly. Fast forward 40 years later, you need a stent in your arteries, and your carotid artery is blocked, and all that stuff. So basically, when you fry potatoes, you are dehydrating them. So you're using the deep fry technique to dehydrate them and make them crispy. Remove all the water. You can do that in a microwave without adding any fat whatsoever. And I'll show you how to do that.
Okay.
So now first I start with a sweet potato because sweet potatoes are the good potato. The potato you can eat as much as you want.
They're very good for women.
They're good for everything. It's actually the most nutritious vegetable on the planet is a sweet potato. They're not an indulgence. They're a great thing, and you should eat one every day.
Great.
So nothing bad about sweet potato. We slice it on a mandolin like this, one of these Japanese mandolins.
You want to show us how to do that?
They're about $30. They're really inexpensive.
Yeah, I was excited that I had
You don't have to get the big fancy metal one that costs $200.
I'm excited.
And all you do is peel them and just slice it thin.
Don't cut yourself.
Exactly. This is a very sharp mandolin. You could easily cut yourself.
Right. Okay,
so
great.
if you don't get whole pieces, if it's a little bit big, that's okay. Don't worry about
they're very
that.
cute. That looks like a potato chip.
And you can store them in water.
Right.
So that they don't oxidize and turn brown.
Right.
Okay. So I'm going to drain a little bit of these.
Right.
Why don't you do that?
Okay.
Sort of drain them. And this is the plate that comes right out of the microwave.
Oh,
and
I see.
I'm going to spray it with some cooking oil. Just 1 second. That's all you need.
Is that healthy?
Yes, it is healthy, actually. And 1 second of cooking spray does the same as a tablespoon of oil would do at 120 calories for no calories.
And that's called PAM?
Yep. This PAM is great, or any kind of quick release.
Is it okay if they touch each other?
No, you got to put about 5 or 6 and give them room to cook. So it's a little too many. Yeah, the microwave can handle a certain amount.
All right.
And this is about the right amount.
Okay.
Okay, and then we are going to season them. Salt. Do it from way up high so that it spreads out evenly. See how evenly that spreads?
Yeah.
You don't have little mountains of salt everywhere.
I like your finger action. That's pretty good.
And this is Old Bay. You do the same thing with this.
Oh.
Old Bay, this the stuff you put in soups and chicken batter, and it's the standard spice that everyone uses. You could use vinegar. You could use
what's that taste like?
Barbecue flavorings if you want, chili powder, whatever you like.
Yeah.
Okay, then turn them over.
Oh.
And
do both
sides. Do the same thing on both sides, exactly. And they'll go into the microwave for about 5 seconds. Spray them again. This tiny little microfilm of oil is going to help attract the heat to the chip so that we can evaporate the water quickly.
I see.
Season again.
Right.
Old Bay again.
Right.
And now I know you don't use the microwave.
Right.
You're not a fan, so I brought my own.
I'm glad.
But will you attempt for me? Will you put it in the microwave
Well,
for
now
me?
I'm going to have to get one just to make these chips.
Well,
I have no idea how to use a microwave.
My technique, the gelato technique, forced you to buy a blender.
That's right.
So now you're going to have to buy a microwave.
I love that blender.
Okay, so hit 30 seconds. All right.
Oh, gorgeous.
Perfectly done.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Depending on whether you soak them or not, they'll take anywhere from 30 seconds to a minute per side. But you can see now they're crispy.
They're wonderful.
They even sound like potato chips.
Yeah, they do.
So this potato chip...
Delicious. Delicious.
Of course it's going to be delicious, right? It's sitting in a bucket of fat. It's going to taste great. These are 140 calories, 9 grams of fat per serving.
And these are real.
And the sweet potato chips are 35 calories and 0 fat grams per serving.
Oh, that's fantastic.
It's a big difference.
They're delicious.
And remember, every 3,500 calories you cut, you lose a pound of fat.
Oh, wow.
So, and just in the potato chips alone, 15 servings over a week or two. That's a pound of fat.
I've got to get my husband to love these. They're so good.
What's not to love? Don't tell him.
Yeah.
Don't tell him how you made them.
This is really exciting. Now you're going to show us how to make healthy fried chicken.
Healthy fried chicken.
It
As
sounds
if that's
like an
possible,
oxymoron.
right? It is. It does sound like an oxymoron. But when it came to fried chicken, I knew I had to hold myself to a higher standard. I couldn't do the fake and bake.
Right.
You know, the faux fry in the oven.
Right.
Everyone does that. It's okay, but it doesn't taste like fried chicken.
Right.
And you need to fry the chicken at some point to give it that crispy, wonderful exterior coating and make sure it's really juicy.
So
inside.
what's bad? What's the baddest thing about fried chicken?
The baddest thing about fried chicken is, take a look. It sits in the oil for 14 to 18 minutes, absorbing fat like a sponge. All those nooks and crannies in that beautiful batter absorb molecule after molecule of fat, and you consume it all.
Yeah.
So you're talking about 1,200 calories, mostly coming from fat.
Right, and that's corn oil.
That's corn, but any oil wouldn't be good. No
see.
one can consume that, even if it's a healthy oil like grapeseed, which is what I use in this dish,
Right.
or olive oil. You can't consume that much. I think it's healthy oil, so it's okay because it's still going to clog your arteries.
So what you're going to do is cook this chicken
So
faster?
the new rule is flash fry instead of deep
Flash
fry.
fry.
Deep fry is a long cooking process. Flash fry is an extremely fast cooking process at very high temperatures.
Right.
So it turns out the amount of oil absorbed in chicken frying is a function of time, not quantity of oil.
And it
So
cooks it all the way through in a flash?
Well, we're going to figure out, we're going to work backwards and get it cooked all the way through,
Okay.
and then fry it. It's a function of time. So the more the chicken sits in the oil, the more fat it absorbs. The
Right.
less time it sits in the oil, the less fat it absorbs. So I
Right.
figured out how to fry it for 12 seconds
Wow.
versus 14 to 18 minutes, and we cut the fat dramatically.
I see. And where
Here's
are
how
you
it's
going
done.
to, so you're going to pre-cook it?
That's right.
Where?
In the microwave, your
Oh,
favorite place. But the microwave can be a really handy tool for healthy cooking.
Okay.
You'll see why.
All
Okay,
right.
so these are chicken thighs.
Right.
Now, I don't know if you're a breast person or a thigh person, but you can eat 2 thighs for the same calories as 1 breast.
I love dark meat.
Yeah, me too. So, and it tastes great. By the way, it's got a little bit more cholesterol, but it also has a lot more nutrients than white meat does. So there's minerals.
It's just
and yeah, and
tastier.
it tastes great. You know, you can't throw the baby out with the bathwater. You can't get rid of everything that's good about this dish.
Right,
so I
right.
cut 2 thighs into 7 small pieces.
Right. And it's good that you don't touch it with your hands.
You shouldn't touch it with your hands. If you do, you have to wear these.
Right, right.
Because you can cross-contaminate. You can take the salmonella virus that chicken often has and spread it all around your kitchen and make people sick.
That's
so
right.
don't do that at home.
And
Now,
also the salmonella goes away when you put it in those high
when you
temperatures.
cook it, that's true, right. But the problem is if you go from here to there
Yeah.
and you don't wash that board properly, that's where you start to get craziness going
Right,
on.
okay.
Now, flash frying is a slightly dangerous technique. It is frying, it is hot oil, and we have to bring the temperature of the oil to 400 degrees, which is a very high temperature. So have one of these around.
Right.
If you got one, it's a good idea to know where it is.
Oh, you
and know
have
how
to have
use
it in the kitchen always.
Nothing's going to happen.
Right, but it's
if-
good to have it.
if
We
does,
had a
yeah.
fire once in our...
Oh, you did?
Oh,
I
we did.
had nothing to do with it,
No,
right?
no,
Okay.
no.
Usually that's my
we
job.
were thinking about you, and then it happened.
So we're going to basically replace all the fattening things. Normally you would use buttermilk.
Oh.
You would use white flour. We're going to replace white flour with whole wheat pastry flour, with fine cornmeal, with sweet paprika, and adobo, which is a garlic-based Latin spice. You want to look for adobo that's sodium-free, MSG-free.
Okay.
Instead of using whole eggs for the breading, we're going to use egg whites. And the way you get rid of egg whites from egg yolks is you allow the whites to fall right from the shell. Now, everyone asks me, what do you do with the yolks?
Yeah.
You make dog food out of it. That's what you do with the yolks. Your
Right.
dogs will love to eat cooked egg yolks. They really will. And that's what you do with them.
And they don't get cholesterol.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about their cholesterol issue. Okay, so we're going to season these chicken pieces with salt and adobo and a little bit of pepper. Now, if you don't find adobo that is sodium-free, it's going to have a lot of sodium in it, so you don't need salt.
Oh, okay.
All right? And it's going to go in the microwave. Put these away. This is just for demonstration purposes. You should buy boneless, skinless chicken thighs, so all the work's done for you.
Right.
Now, this is going to go in the microwave for about...
In this plate?
On this plate for about a minute per side. And the microwave cooks from inside out, so you have to keep in mind that the inside of this is going to cook faster than the outside. So when you flip it over, you want to flip it over a couple of different ways. So let's go over here. So you simply put this plate right into the microwave oven, and you do a minute per side. You don't want to fully cook it in the microwave because you want to leave some room for it to cook in the frying oil as well.
Right,
If it's fully cooked here, it'll be overcooked.
And so for the taste, too,
Right. Because
the oil. Are you going to put...
So now, while it's still warm, you
Yeah.
don't allow it to cool.
Right.
you go back to this egg white that we prepared earlier.
Right.
And look, I'm never touching it with my hands,
Right.
although now it's cooked and safe.
Right.
You're going to toss it in warm and coat it with the oil, now with the egg white. Now we use egg white because egg white's sticky.
Right.
And it's going to make all this stuff stick.
Right.
We're just going to mix all this together.
Oh, that was so pretty the way you did that.
That beautiful swirl, right?
Yeah.
So the paprika will help make the coating look nice and brown, just like fried chicken does.
Right.
All right. Now, don't be afraid to taste things like this to make sure it's got some flavor to it. It tastes seasoned.
Yeah, it does.
Shouldn't taste like a perfectly seasoned steak, but
No.
it doesn't taste bland.
No, right.
Which is a good thing.
Right.
Everything you cook with should have some flavor.
Right. Well, yeah.
All right. So now we're going to go from there to here. Chicken goes right with that nice goopy egg white all around it, because that's going to help make the coating stick. And again, never touching it with my hands. I'm just going to shake it around. You could do this in a bag, like the old shake and bake. Remember that?
Right.
And now we're going to make sure our oil is prepared for flash frying.
Right.
Now, what makes it flash frying instead of deep frying is the temperature. This is 350 degrees.
Right.
Flash frying is done at 400 degrees. It's much hotter, which means I can cook it for far less time. So how do I know it's 400 degrees? I use a thermometer. You
Right.
have to use a thermometer.
And
because
does it?
you won't
And
know.
did it get there?
And it's actually right at 400 degrees. It's a little hotter, which is fine. You want a basket like this,
Right.
or even better, something like this. You've got all the great tools here, by the way.
Yeah.
You put the chicken into the basket.
We're serious cooks here.
And so you see how I work backwards when you said, how are you going to get it cooked? I use the
Right.
microwave to do most of the cooking,
Right.
so I didn't have to do it in
Right.
frying. And now here we go. There's a phenomenon of oil expansion.
Right.
So this oil only occupied half the volume that it does now. When it heats up, it expands. So you should use a pot twice as big as the amount of oil you're cooking
Oh,
with.
okay.
So if you're cooking with 2 quarts of oil, at least a 4-quart pot.
Now you got to be careful when you put that
And-
in there
and
so it
you gotta
doesn't
be careful.
splatter
So
on
step
you.
back. So it should take about 12 seconds at 400 degrees, which is a lot less time than 14 to 18 minutes.
Okay. And who's timing the seconds?
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's see. And look at that. Brown,
That's great.
crispy,
Wow.
with all those nice crispy bits that we love in our fried chicken.
Oh, that looks great.
Should be fully cooked. We're just going to let the excess fat drain off, because every drop counts.
Right.
And we're going to serve this with a salad. Now, most of the time when you serve fried chicken, it's the only thing you get, so you get
Right.
a lot of it. So
Right.
we're going to bulk out this meal with a salad. And
Okay.
the salad is really
Smells good, too.
You should taste it, because
It's hot.
it's going to be the best
I'll
right
wait a
now.
second.
All right.
It's very
Salad is iceberg lettuce.
smells great.
Love iceberg lettuce. It's, you know what's great about it is it fills you up. There's a lot of water in it.
Right.
Yeah, it's not a calorie-dense vegetable. Tomatoes, these are red onions that I soaked in lime juice overnight,
Oh, great.
which makes them taste delicious and gives them that beautiful color. We're going to add a few sliced poblano peppers and some avocado. Now, the avocado, of course, is a really healthy vegetable. We're only going to use half,
It's fattening.
but it's all the fat you need to make this taste like a dressed salad.
Okay.
We're not going to use any vinaigrette.
All right. And we save calories on everything else.
We're always figuring out ways to cut calories, but not the flavor.
Right.
So really
That's
easy
how
way.
you do that.
Yeah, just drop that right in there, and then squeeze it right on top.
Oh, that's how you do that.
Yep. Don't get your hands dirty. I'm going to season with a little bit more adobo, some pepper, a little more salt, a bunch of cilantro, one of my favorite herbs, and you don't have to worry about how it's cut. So you can eat the stems of cilantro as well as the leaves. And toss it a little bit. So we're going to toss this together. When I say toss, I literally mean toss. This is how you toss a salad,
Right.
and this is the way you get all the flavors to coat everything else
Right.
in the dish. All right, a little bit on the floor for the people who clean later.
Right.
And look how beautiful that looks.
Gorgeous.
And then you serve this on
Oh,
top.
nice.
And so, I love that you can't wait to taste this.
Oh,
It's making me so
very
happy.
Good. Oh, very good.
So,
That's delicious. That's
You go-
That's my lunch.
this is a serving for 2 people, so we're gonna have to share.
Okay.
So you go from 930 calories and 32 grams of fat
Wow.
per portion to 279 calories and 13.8 grams of fat, thanks to flash frying.
That's great. I'm going to have this with my husband. I'm not giving you.
Enjoy yourself. Shall I
This
pick
is
a nice
so-
white wine for you?
It's so good. And I love giving him things
But what's
that
great
aren't
is that
bad
it's
for
still
his heart.
fried, it's still crispy,
Yeah.
but it's not fully deep fried. So let's try it.
It's delicious.
Juicy in the center.
Completely cooked. It's delicious. So now what are we doing? We're going to have an all-day egg white omelet.
Yeah, we're gonna make eggs.
What do you mean an all-day egg?
It's something you can have all day long.
Oh, I see.
It's anytime meal replacement.
Yeah.
Really easy to make. There are two ways you can make it: in a pan or in the microwave. I've been playing with the microwave a lot, so I'm going to show you how to make it in a pan.
Good.
Now this is the old-fashioned way of cooking eggs. A nonstick pan, 2 eggs, some garlic, lots of fat, butter, oil, whatever it is. Delicious, right?
Right.
Not good for you. So
Okay.
here's the easy way to do it to make it taste great and still be good for you. We're going to use 3 egg whites. Now, if you don't want to crack the eggs open and separate the whites, you can get, egg replacement. There's nothing wrong with this stuff. Nothing wrong with this stuff. It's just egg whites. That's all that's in it. And in the egg beaters that looks orange,
Yeah.
they just add coloring. It's not. There's
Right.
nothing wrong. It's beta carotene and guar gum and xanthan gum, which is the same stuff that you use in your sorbet now.
Right, right.
Xanthan gum.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with it. So
I
don't
love
be
that.
afraid of it. Especially the all-natural egg whites. It says right on the carton, egg whites. That's it.
Does it get bad?
It's pasteurized, so it has
Yeah.
a long shelf life.
Yeah.
Now, if you want to make it yourself, separate the eggs.
Right.
This is how you do it. Very simple. And then save the yolks and make dog food.
Right.
That's what you do with the yolks. Or one day when you have a huge indulgent feast, you can make creme caramel, creme brulee, something like that.
Right. Okay.
But the reason we get rid of the yolks is obvious. There's cholesterol, there's a lot of fat. You
Right.
don't need it. You want to eat about 30 grams of protein in the morning within 30 minutes of waking up. And an egg white omelet is a really great way to do that without all the fat.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to whip up the eggs because they cook better when you break those strands of protein.
All right.
And you're going to get a nonstick pan, nice and hot. I've never loved nonstick pans, but I love it for healthy cooking. It's unbeatable when it comes to healthy cooking. I'm going to use a little quick release spray. You want to spray? 3 seconds?
Yeah, sure.
This spray is measured by seconds. Always take it away from the stove because it is flammable.
I feel like a
1,
little kid.
2, 3. That's
Gee,
it. That's all you
thanks,
need.
Daddy. I got to put the pan.
So you see the difference. This is about 2 tablespoons of olive oil, which
Oh,
is how my
wow.
grandmother used to cook
Right.
it. 240 calories. 3 seconds of quick release spray, no calories. So you want to get that hot and add this. You want to hear that sizzle,
Yep.
and you want to just stir. Stir until you form nice large globules of coagulated egg white protein. Sort of let that cook.
Right.
That's going to set up nicely. If it doesn't, I'm going to look really foolish. And what I'm going to serve it with is pico de gallo, which is just chopped tomatoes,
Right.
peppers, onions.
You're going to
little
put that
lime
in
juice.
the omelet.
I'm going to put that on top, and I'm going to fill it with this 75% reduced fat cheddar. Cabot makes it. It's amazing. It's real cheese. It's not cheese food. It's not processed cheese. And a little cilantro always goes a long way.
Right.
See how the whites are doing. Rubber spatula would be a really good thing. And you have it right here.
We have a rubber spatula.
You have many
right
of them?
there.
Okay. Looks like this is going to come out very nice. I'm going to fill it with cheese. Just like that. And because it's 75% reduced fat, give it a little more leeway. Loosen the bottom, make sure it's loose all around. And just let it fall out of the pan.
One of
And
our
roll on
questions
itself.
from our guests is, did you go to cooking school or did you learn yourself?
I went to cooking school and I learned myself. Cooking school is definitely an invaluable way to speed up the process. But I learned from my mom, I learned from my grandmother, and
Well, that's some
cooking
pretty
school.
looking omelet you just made.
it's a great omelet, right?
Beautiful.
And we're gonna
Well
top it with
done.
pico de gallo, which is an amazing condiment. You can eat as much of it as you want.
And what is in that?
Salt.
Just chopped tomatoes or something
It's
else?
chopped tomatoes, poblano peppers, and onions. Yeah.
Great. Wonderful.
And some cilantro, as always.
You
I
love
love
that cilantro.
yeah.
I
Does
see
it taste
that.
like soap to you?
No, I love it.
Oh, good. You love it too.
I
Great. All right, let's taste it. So we're talking about an egg dish that was 250 calories, 19 grams of fat, tons of cholesterol that will clog all your arteries, to 69 calories and
Wow.
1 gram of fat.
Wow.
That's extraordinary. If it tastes good, it'll be an even better deal. Yeah, you want to mix it all together. Make
Yeah.
sure you get some cheese and
Right.
see how it's still runny on the inside.
Right, yeah.
That's the way you make sure it's not dry, because when you get rid of the fat, usually the first thing to happen to the dish is it gets dry.
Right. It's
But
gonna
if
be,
you don't cook the protein all the way, you'll have some of that.
Is this gonna be hot?
juiciness. Spicy hot or
no, hot. Temperature, no.
it should be okay.
Oh, delicious.
You can eat that all day long, right? That's why it's
Right.
called the all-day egg white omelet.
Delicious. So now, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna change in the
Dress the
vinaigrette?
salad, right?
Come on.
So the standard formula for a vinaigrette is 3 parts oil to 1 part vinegar. So all your vinaigrettes that you're eating are 3/4 fat. And I want to prove to you that you don't need that much fat to have
right.
a really great tasting vinaigrette. What makes vinaigrettes taste good is usually the acids inside, so the vinegar or the lemon juice like I'm using here,
Right.
and the aromats like the onions and the herbs,
Right.
and the flavor detonators like Dijon mustard. So I'm going to create a nice, thick, rich, creamy vinaigrette,
Right.
and I'm going to use a fraction of the oil. So here's how we do
Okay.
it. First, we chop some shallots. Shallots are those milder onions that you find at the bottom, underneath where all the potatoes are in the store. And this is
Right.
where it helps to have a great knife. Nice sharp knife. And you just cut with the grain. You slit it in half.
Right.
And then, using the butt of the knife, good catch, by the way. You just go ahead and mince them.
Right.
All right, and then you save these parts to cook. So these go in the microwave, about 2 minutes, and they come out looking like this, nice and cooked. The reason I
Right.
cook them is because I want to make a puree out of them. We're going to use pureed shallot to thicken this vinaigrette instead of the emulsification you normally get with olive oil and vinegar. So that
Is this
goes-
the same blender you make the ice
This
cream
is
in?
your blender, yes, this is the blender, the Vita Prep, the miracle blender. And the other thing is with this kind of a blender, which emulsifies anything you put in it, you don't need the help of all that fat and the egg yolk that
Right,
usually
right,
goes into
right,
it. So,
right.
all right, so we're going to add sherry vinegar, highly aromatic, very delicious. Lemon juice, because I like to mix up the acids.
Right.
And Dijon mustard, one of the greatest flavor detonators ever. 15 calories a tablespoon. No fat at all. An amazing, amazing miracle food. And definitely a metabolism booster.
Yeah. Is that a special kind of Dijon mustard or just
The
the
strongest
regular?
you can get. Cœur sauvage is the
Okay.
one I look for. It's savage heart mustard. That's literally what it's called. And then only 2 tablespoons of olive oil, which is 8 tablespoons less.
Wow.
So it would normally be about 10. And you have to measure. You can't throw around olive oil like it's got no calories. You see chefs doing that on TV all the time. But every time you go like that with a bottle of olive oil, it's like 200 or 300 calories.
Right.
Most of us can't afford to do that. Start on low. Get that blend to incorporate all the ingredients. Use the vat that this blender comes with,
Right.
and then sort of turn it up and up and up. Look how creamy that is already.
Right.
I didn't really need any of the olive oil, but it will add a nice flavor.
Right.
All right. Now I like the flavor of that. And see how fast work that blender makes of it? I like the flavor of raw and cooked shallots, so I use both. And we're going to add a lot of parsley and some salt.
I love
and some
parsley. I
pepper.
think that's
Isn't
a
parsley
very
amazing?
underappreciated.
I agree
taste.
as well.
Yeah.
Most people use the curly parsley that doesn't have a lot of flavor.
Right.
If you use the flat Italian parsley, it has much more flavor. See how creamy and
Oh, yeah,
it looks
that
just
looks
like the
great.
vinaigrette. So taste it. Put your finger in there. See if you like it.
Let me put
you
a,
go.
put a little something on. Oh, here, let me get a piece of lettuce.
Well, I'm going to toss that for you, but
But I just, in order to
Yeah.
taste it, I need to taste
Okay.
it on something.
all right.
Good. Very good.
Right? So got sweet and sour thing going on. So dress your salad like
Right.
you normally would. Nice big bowl.
Great.
They say toss your salad because that's what you do. You know, I washed my hands yesterday, so we're good. And you just lay it up. So you have a nice big salad full of fiber, a lot of water. It'll fill you up. And instead of 120 calories and 12 grams of fat, using this vinaigrette cuts it down to 64 calories and 4.5 grams of fat.
That's great. Before I lose you, I want to ask you a couple of questions that have come from our audience. So let's get to them quickly because I know they're a bit disappointed.
So good.
So, this is from Jess. She says, I have a lot of friends who are vegetarians and I never know what to serve as a main course. that doesn't scream boring and it isn't the usual, go-to pasta? What are some veggie-friendly options?
What's amazing to me is the world of vegetables is so huge and so varied, and there's so many options, and we end up with boring vegetarian food. I always look to the Indian cuisine for guidance when it comes to vegetarian food. Cauliflower, curries, yogurt, those kinds of flavors really taste
Right.
good.
Oh, that's great.
Eggplant is a substantial vegetable for main course. Cauliflower, all the cruciferous vegetables, kale, stewed kale, those kinds of things will make a vegetarian very happy.
Well, that's great.
Just don't put bacon in there.
No. This from Amy. My daughter's just moved into her first post-college apartment. What are the must-have pantry items I can buy her to get her started on cooking her own healthy food?
Well, first of all, Amy, it's great that you want to get your daughter started cooking healthy because you know about the freshman 15. When most kids leave home, they start eating a lot of processed food, fast food, and they gain weight.
Right.
So basically everything you see here is what you need. You need a big knife, a small knife, a blender. That blender is a great tool. A microwave oven is a great tool. A non-stick pan, and a cookbook. Maybe this one.
Yeah.
Some good recipes.
That's right. No, I love that book. I have it. This is from a lovely man named Brian. I'd like to make my wife a special meal for her birthday that won't be too elaborate to whip up after I get home from work.
First
Any
of all,
ideas?
a man cooking for a woman is it's like finding a diamond mine,
It
right?
is.
It's so romantic. When men do things that are maternal
He's
and
a
nurturing,
true lover.
anything you make, she'll love. But I suggest you roast a chicken. A perfect roasted chicken takes about an hour. It's very low maintenance, and everyone loves it.
Great. This is from Tracy. What other vegetables can be substituted for the chips you just made?
It works well with parsnips. It'll work with regular potatoes as well.
Right.
But you'll have the higher glycemic starch, but you will avoid all that fat.
Right.
So anything with a little bit of starch. Carrots
Right. Oh,
are
sure,
potentially
of
good.
course.
Parsnips. That's about it.
Right.
Yeah. I've actually done it with broccoli florets.
Oh, yeah.
You can
that's
dehydrate
good.
anything and turn
Right.
it into a chip.
That sounds great. This is from Sis. What's the difference in cooking between electric and gas stoves?
Oh, it's like real diamonds and cubic zirconia. It's like night and day. Real gas, you feel. It makes you can transfer your energy
also
through
have more
the gas.
control over it, don't
You have
you?
a lot of control. The response time is immediate versus very long. When
Right.
you turn down an electric stove, it
Right.
takes 40 minutes for it to catch
Right,
up.
right.
So yeah.
Yeah.
If you have a choice, get the gas every time.
This is from Christina. Do you ever use a crock-pot for cooking? For busy families, it can be a lifesaver. If you have used
Yes.
one, do you have any healthy recipes to share that can be made in a crock-pot?
I love crock pots. I love slow cooking. I use a method called sous vide, which is cooking in vacuum sealed bags. It's the same idea. And anything you put in there and cook for a long time is gonna taste good later on in the day when you come home. And it's a great way to make food healthy because it doesn't require any fat. So can of beans, a pound of 98% lean beef chopped up, some curry powder, big chunks of vegetables, kale. And
Is it in your cookbook?
I don't have a crock pot recipe per se, but any
Right.
stew that or any
Right.
of my books will work
Right.
in a crock pot.
Well, if you have one, you could send it to me and I'll post it on the
Okay.
Facebook page. So
I'll do that.
you could get it off the Facebook page. This is from Lori. I need some gluten-free recipes. Do you have a section in one of your books? for
Yes, huge section of gluten-free pastas in this book.
Oh, great.
I love gluten-free. A lot of people can't tolerate gluten, even those who don't have celiac, because gluten is overbred to toxic levels of that protein, and wheat is overbred now to produce toxic levels of gluten. So my favorites are brown rice pasta, quinoa pasta, great go-to.
I love quinoa. This is from Michelle. I'd like to know what is the one ingredient you can't live without?
Amore. No, I'm sorry to be so but
Cilantro, it seems.
yeah, that was right. Well, the one cooking tool I can't live without is my palate.
Yes.
And you know what? As much as I'm supposed to avoid salt, a little salt
Yeah,
goes a long way.
That's right. This is from Caroline. Good vegan recipes that are yummy and filling. You have some in your book,
Vegan,
don't
yeah,
you?
and I do have plenty in here actually, and a great one is the cauliflower and the curry and the yogurt that I talked about earlier. Yeah.
And Rosanna says, I cannot live without olive oil as it enhances taste for so many healthier recipes.
It's so funny you should ask because I happen to have a recipe for something called super oil, which is olive oil made with green olive brine and only a quarter of the amount of olive oil. So it's 1/4 of the fat of normal olive oil.
What's it
Tastes
called
just
in
like
your
olive.
book?
It's called super oil.
And we
Do you want to taste it?
Yes.
I have some.
We can go on your website, right, and get this? Get some of these recipes?
You're going to have all these recipes, yeah.
On your website.
On your website.
On my, you're going to give it to me on
we're
my
gonna give you
website.
these.
Great, perfect. Okay, we're going to taste this right now. This is.
So this is super oil, and essentially it's the liquid that comes out of a jar of green olives. So, you buy those olives. I thicken that liquid with xanthan gum.
That's great.
I add olive oil, and I make my own olive oil.
Great.
Yeah, and that's in the book.
Okay. We got that. I'm eating like a pig here. Let's see.
But if you just measure the amount of olive oil you use instead of free-flowing, you can't riff with olive oil. You got to measure it. You'll find that you're probably using twice as much as you need every time.
Steven says, we all have at least one food or flavor that we can't stand. Do you have one?
I haven't found it yet. I'll be completely
Wow.
honest with you. I love everything.
Isn't that great? Isn't that great? It's from Riley. Hi, Rocco. Did you go to cooking school, or you answered that already? We already gave you that.
Yeah, we weren't taping. So,
Right.
yeah.
No, we weren't.
Oh, we were? Okay.
Yeah. This is from Faye. I'm not a fan of beef, lamb, and sausages, and sometimes I get tired of fish and chicken breast. Are there any new ideas? And I also have ulcers and cannot eat raw veggies. So I guess she's saying any new ideas.
So Faye's essentially eliminated 99% of the options out there. Leaves us with ice cubes. I'm not sure what's
turkey.
left.
Turkey.
Well, she gets tired of chicken breast and fish.
But I think turkey tastes different than chicken.
I do too, but I'm assuming she's tired of chicken. She's tired of poultry, but turkey's a good option.
Right.
If you like tofu, that seems like that's the only food group you haven't told me you don't like. And if you have ulcers and can't eat raw veggies, cook them.
Right. This is from Bridget. I love going out to brunch, but it can get expensive, not to mention unhealthy. What are some easy brunch ideas I can make on a weekend morning?
You have to stop going to the brunch places where they dance on the table and have fireworks coming out of the champagne.
Right.
It'll be a little less expensive. My favorite brunch place is a classic New York diner.
Right.
Eggs over easy, that kind of thing. Yeah.
But to make something, you showed us how to make a great white egg
Any
omelet.
one of my egg dishes from any of my books are great. I have pizzaiolo egg bakes. They're these big egg bakes that feed 8 people.
Really?
You put them in a 8x8 ceramic pan, cook it, done.
But done. This is from Jamie. I like preparing my own dinners instead of eating out, but I get home from work late, and sometimes I just don't have any time. Do you have any tips for preparing quick weeknight meals?
Yes. So a little bit of planning goes a long way. Get all your shopping done on the weekends. Make 2 of everything, and alternate. So every other day you're eating the same thing. It's not so bad, right?
Right.
And my favorite go-to meals are soups. Stock in the box, a can of beans, some seasoning, some shiitake noodles. It's a great instant dinner.
And salad.
And salad.
And with a salad, yeah. I like soup and salad. Mary says, I'd love to start doing triathlons. How did you get started? What made you start that? Do you have any tips for getting started? I don't have much money and can't do it myself.
The reason I started doing triathlons is because I was basically fooled into doing it. And so it was almost like a dare when I found out what I signed myself up for. And it was for charity, and it sounded impossible, so I thought I should try it. If it sounds impossible, it's something I'd want to do. You got to train a lot. You got to swim, bike, run as much as possible.
Wow.
Your first one will feel like you'll feel reborn. It's definitely worth making it to that finish line.
Have you done more than one?
I've done about 12, yeah, including 2 Ironmans, yeah.
Oh my Lord! Well, that puts to death the idea that a chef is a guy that stays indoors, right?
Yeah, I mean, if a chef can do it,
Right.
anybody can do it.
This is from Marta. Do you have any tips for starting a healthy lifestyle? I don't exercise much, don't pay that much attention to what I eat. Things in my kitchen include pasta and sweets. I hate fruit, but I tolerate vegetables. So she wants to know how to start a healthy lifestyle.
My tips are undo everything you're doing. Whatever your instinct is, like George Costanza, do the opposite. Like fruits, eat lots of vegetables, watch what you eat, count the calories, start to exercise, get rid of the sweets, and eat pasta in moderation. I'm sorry, I know you want the sort of magic bullet method, but there is no method like that. You got to do the hard work.
Absolutely.
And just got to think about why you're doing it. Think of this. If you're 50 pounds overweight as a woman, you can expect your life expectancy to be shortened by 8 years.
Wow.
The CDC says if you're 50 pounds overweight as a woman, your life expectancy is shortened by 8 years. So
And what about a man?
13 years if you're a man.
Oh, wow.
Think about that.
Okay, this is from Philomena. What are some great and tasty recipes to do in a pinch? What can I do that is quick but that will impress? Something with salmon?
I love cooking salmon because it's delicious. Everyone likes it. No one argues about it.
It's completely great for your heart.
And it's so good for you and easy to find high quality salmon. And it broils in 8 minutes. So what I like to do is make a quick glaze of agave nectar, mustard, miso, orange marmalade, sugar-free orange marmalade. I mix those ingredients together to my taste. I slather the top of the salmon with it under the broiler for 8 minutes. You can cook a 4-pound fillet of salmon that'll feed 8 people in 12 minutes.
You have to turn it over?
You don't even have to turn it over.
Okay.
Let it broil and burn on top. It'll be nice and juicy on the inside.
Yeah.
Awesome.
This is from Marianne. What is the best pan for home cooks to fry with?
Unfortunately, this is a complicated answer. There are fry pans to fry with, there are pans to saute with, but a good all-purpose pan is something called a sautoir. Some people call it a chicken fryer. It's got a high-sided versus slope-sided. You have one here. Let me show you.
I think it's being washed.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yep.
So a straight-sided chicken fryer is a great all-purpose pan.
Okay.
And if you want to try to save calories, get a non-stick surface because you won't need to cook with as much fat.
This is from Freddie. Linguine and clam sauce. Fresh clams or canned?
I'm all about shortcuts that make sense. And if you can't get fresh clams, they make great canned clam product. Check the sodium levels. That's the only thing to watch out for. And clam juice in the jar, not so bad.
Right. This is from Brett. I'd like to know if there's a way to break some of the coarse fiber of amaranth flour without severe degradation of the nutritional value. The stuff tastes wonderful and so nutritious, but it can be really rough on the mouth.
What I do with all of the highly fibrous grains is I blend them a little bit. So that VitaPrep has got a lot of power, and if you put whole brown rice in it, you'll break up the grains of rice into smaller pieces. It'll save a lot of time in cooking and also make it much more tender. Now, anytime you take a whole food and make it a processed food, you do lose some nutritional value, but don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. It's a good idea to eat amaranth flour, and if this is what it is going to take for you to eat it, then go for it.
Absolutely. Well, that's it.
That's it.
Lots of good questions,
Amazing,
right?
Very
Yeah.
cool.
We couldn't give
So
you
much
all of
fun.
them because we're running out of time. But thank you. You're
My
such a
pleasure.
sweetheart. We love having
Good
you
to see
in our
you.
kitchen. Thanks, everybody. I hope you got a lot of tips on healthy eating. We'll see you next time.